good. He's some.
What's up? Welcome to Friday. If you're looking to get a little sweat on before the weekend, you've come to the right place. This is a show called The Sweat. You can go to the gym on your own time.
Sure. I'm Brendan Glasheen. He is Mr. Adam Kaufman. You're stuck with us for the next 60 minutes, and we'll get to baseball in a moment, but some breaking news in the NBA.
That's right. Action Network's Matt LaMarca. Come on in. Join us, pal. According to multiple reports, Dwight Howard has finalized his buyout with the Grizzlies. He's planning to sign a non-guaranteed deal with the Lakers. This will actually be his second stint in LA. We know that. The first one was kind of up and down, didn't get along so well with Kobe Bryant. Kobe's long gone, though, so it's going to be Dwight with now LeBron, Anthony Davis, so many others. He's been a disaster basically everywhere he's gone. So, Matt, do you expect this is going to work out well on a club that hopes to actually contend?
Listen, I don't hate it for the Lakers. I mean, I think the hate on Howard has gone a little bit too far. You know, he certainly is not the same dominant force that he was back in his Orlando days. But in terms of, you know, a big man on your roster who can grab rebounds and finish around the rim, Howard's pretty good at that still. You know, he averaged 12 and a half boards 2 years ago with the Hornets. In roughly 30 minutes a night. He played 81 games. So I know last year was a lost season for him. I know that he's become a little bit of a punchline, but I think that Howard provides some depth for a team that really does not have very much size at this point. I mean, who knows if DeMarcus Cousins is even going to play at this point, given the injury that he's had. And the only other big men on your roster are JaVale McGee and Anthony Davis. You know,
I think that's a pretty decent amount of size, don't you?
Well, the thing is with McGee, he's a guy that you do not want to play big minutes, and Anthony Davis has always viewed himself as more of a power forward than a center. So it's a signing. It's not going to cost them very much. He just said it's not even going to be a guaranteed deal. The amount of guys walking around right now who can average a double-double for you that you can get at that price are pretty minimal. So I think it's a good gamble here for the Lakers.
Yeah, it's low risk, high reward, just as long as he's not a DB and gets along okay with everyone, which he has admitted he's trying to mature and grow up. We'll see if that actually works out.
Yeah.
It'll be fun
Apparently
for
he's
us
a big
either way.
crop duster in the locker room, so maybe he's got to cut that out.
Yeah.
We'll have a blast talking about it all season. Matt, thank you very much. Stay with us now. We shift to the diamond with Doug Norrie, owner of DFSR.com, and DK Live, Steve Buchanan, my favorite person, the guy I want to see before I start a weekend.
Bukes, anything to say to this guy before we get started?
Yeah, why do you have a Q-tip in your ear, Glasheen?
You know, it's a replacement for an IFB. It's called a headphone.
I actually thought you'd give him a harder time for the fact that he's been off whittling in his spare time, but nevertheless.
Well, I mean, he's going to look ridiculous for the next hour with this Q-tip hanging out of his ear, but that's fine.
All right, well, we can throw some jabs out over the course of the next however long we have. Let's get to MLB Take Your Pick, all right? We're looking at some sportsbook bets for tonight. Potential World Series preview, in fact, out west between the Dodgers and Yankees, two best teams in the majors right now. LA minus 143, New York plus 125. Doug, let's start with you because the others are talking too much. Would you give the Bombers a chance with these odds?
Oh, for sure. Ryu has been awesome this season, but he's sort of lived on a pretty lucky BABIP, like 30 points lower than his career number. The xFIP is about 1.7 runs higher than his ERA. So I think you're getting the Dodgers are awesome, and there's nothing against that. But I think this pitching matchup is way closer than Vegas assumes it is, just because these pitchers are kind of both living on opposite ends of the luck spectrum. Paxton's had a bunch of walk issues, but his BABIP's a little high as well, with the left on base a little low. So I actually like this number for the Yankees, just because I think that there's some perception that Ryu is like the sub-2 ERA guy, and that's really just probably not the case.
Matty, who you like on the money line?
Yeah, we have the Yankees actually as one of our best bets tonight at the Action Network. And this is a really interesting spot. I mean, Ryu has been great all year, and he's been especially dominant at home. He's got a sub-1 ERA when pitching in Los Angeles this season. But if you look at what the Yankees have done against lefties since the All-Star break, they are just destroying them. They have a WRC plus as a team of north of 170, which is so much higher than every other team in baseball that it's pretty funny. I think that they are as equipped as anybody to get to Ryu here, so I love the idea of grabbing them as an underdog.
Bukes, if I'm not mistaken, your first eye roll of the program came 4 minutes in, might be a new record. You want to tell us why you're going the other way?
Oh, definitely not a new record, that's for sure. But I like the Dodgers in this spot just because I can't trust James Paxton at this point. I mean, his numbers on the road aren't great. I know they're at Dodger Stadium, but Paxton has still allowed 11 of his 21 home runs on the road here. And he's been pretty poor overall in the second half as well. It's not like he's, been getting a little bit unlucky. He's just been straight up bad in the second half here. So this is a lineup that you don't really want to mess with either with the Dodgers. They're one of the best scoring teams at home this season. So I'm going to side with the Dodgers in this one. I think it's appropriate that they're favored in this one. And, these guys have said that Ryu have had some of his troubles, and that's totally true as well. But, he has been just so good at Dodger Stadium. This is probably the toughest matchup he'll have at home, but I'm just going to side with the Dodgers on this one.
Plus, he was great in Street Fighter. Ryu.
Yeah.
I got it.
All right, go on.
Rays and Orioles, meanwhile, have the highest run total tonight at 10.5. We're not exactly talking prolific offenses here, so is the under almost too easy, Matt?
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't hate the over here. The Orioles are just comically bad. They've allowed more home runs already than any other team in the history of baseball. There are like 33 games left in the season. It is atrocious how bad their starting pitching has been. So, the Rays, I think, in particular, have a ton of offensive upside in this matchup. And I don't think you can make a lot of money betting Orioles unders this year. So I'll take the over.
Steve, is Matt making sense?
The only reason why I think this might actually hit the under is that just the Rays just aren't that great against lefties. They get a 309 WOBA, 160 isolated power, but it really hinges on how early they get into the Baltimore Orioles bullpen, and that's what's going to make all the difference here because they have a lot of righties in that bullpen, and the Rays are much, much better against right-handed pitching here. It's just that's the only thing that I'm not sure about. I mean, Ty Blah, that's what I'm going to call him because he should be called Ty Blah. He's been absolutely horrible. He's made 2 starts for the Giants, 2 starts for the Orioles. He's given up at least 6 runs in 3 of those starts. In 3 of those starts. It's just been absolutely horrific for him. But like I said, the Rays aren't the strongest offensive team against lefties. So I'm kind of on the fence here. This has gone down since this morning. It was at 11 runs this morning, down to 10.5. So there is some interest here in the under. So I'm going to stick with the under here. I just think 11 runs between these two teams is a lot.
Doug, can you break the tie?
Yeah, I mean, I was a lot more excited about the over until I saw the Rays lineup. Like, they're hitting Matt Duffy leadoff, which makes no sense. He might be the worst hitter in their lineups. Darno's not in the lineup. So I was pretty ready to make a strong case for this until some of the contextual factors like their lineup came in. The wind's blowing in a little bit. It's pretty cool. It's only 66 degrees, so that's not going to help a lot of offense either. And I actually think there's a chance this actually comes down to 10 before game time. It's scooting down. Like the under is minus 117 right now in some spots. So I was prepared to go on the over on this, and then some of the other stuff came in, and it's kind of hard to make the case. So I'll go under here.
Guys, tons of strikeouts expected in this Braves-Mets matchup coming up. DK Sportsbook has Mike Fulton-Avich at 5.5, Jacob deGrom at 8.5. Together, they're a whole alphabet, 26 letters. I actually counted them out. Who has the best chance to hit the over, Stephen Buchanan?
That just threw me for such a loop that wow.
You're welcome.
That's dedication. You are a dedicated host, my friend. I'm going to go with deGrom on this one just because he has the least likely chance of getting knocked around here. I mean, we've seen Fulton-Avich. He's kind of straightening out a little bit since he's come off the injured list, but the Mets are actually a pretty tough team to strike out. Like, this isn't a team that usually strikes out a lot. And then we've already seen deGrom pitch 19 in the third innings against the Braves, 7, 9, and 10 strikeouts he has again. So he's pretty much dominated them, at least in the strikeout department so far this season. So I just have no faith in Fulton-Avich, especially against this Mets team. I mean, as a holder of the Mets' future to make the World Series, I would very much like them to win this game and every game the rest of the way. But yeah, from a real standpoint, I just don't trust Fulton-Avich. If he's getting 6 strikeouts, that means he's made it pretty deep into this game, and I just don't see that happen.
Let's leave the personal stuff for another time, okay? Let's talk about...
Listen, no one is here for you. They're here for us.
Right, no one's here for you either, Steve.
They're here for us, the three of us, not you.
Fine.
Mr. Q-Tip.
Just wanted to see how long it would go. Matthew LaMarca, what do you say?
I'll go with deGrom as well. The Mets have the 7th or 8th, I think it's 7th lowest strikeout rate against right-handers since the All-Star break. And Fulton-Avich is not really a strikeout pitcher. One thing that has even helped the Mets even more in the strikeout department is they now have Joe Panik playing pretty much every day, who's the hardest hitter in baseball to strike out. So, deGrom is going to give you at least 6 innings. More than likely, he'll give you 7. He's just so consistent. 2 earned runs or fewer in 15 of his past 16 starts. That depth, like Steve was talking about, the fact that you're going to get him on the mound for, a really good handful of innings tonight, I think makes him the choice out of the 2 here.
I'm just impressed that we've now referred to him 3 times and said his name 3 different ways. Douglas Norrie, whose name is not quite as long as the other 2, but still you got some letters to you. What do you think?
I was just going to call him Fulty because that's what I usually default to because I never can. I pronounce it a different way each time I say it.
It's a good move.
I would take the under on both. A lot of the Panik thing is a great call. Exactly. He's almost the under 10% strikeout rate. Really, no one in this lineup strikes out more than 20% of the time against righties, and that's pretty far under league average. It's tough to trust Fulty here, especially with some of his issues. deGrom, I have him for under case too, like 7.7. I feel a little less comfortable with it. So if I had to pick one to go over, it would definitely be deGrom just because of the length of the game.
Let's close out with a fun one. Which parlay would you prefer? The underdog Reds and Diamondbacks at plus 370 or a few favorites, Indians, Rangers, and Rockies at plus 274? What do you think, Doug? We'll go back to you.
Yeah, I'll take the Reds and Diamondbacks side of this. These 2 teams are well underperforming their Pythagorean win-loss record this season. They're both 6 games under it, so they really should. Their records overall should look a lot better. I think Arizona's like by Pythagorean win-loss, they're like the 4th or 5th best team in the NL, and the Reds aren't too far behind them. So I think you're getting good value on the fact that these 2 teams, people don't think that they're just better than their records indicate. And I think you're getting really good value on both. So I really do like the Reds and Diamondbacks side of this.
Matt?
Yeah, you call these fun. I call them losers, more than likely. It's just hard to win parlay. I will side with the underdog special here if I had to take one, though, because I only need to win 2 games, and I'm going to get more money if I win them. So Give me those guys as opposed to the triple favorite parlay, which I think is probably one of the worst bets you can.
Let's cheer up, okay? Let's get a better attitude here.
I'm just trying to educate, you know?
Yeah, people trying to learn people a
Yeah,
little
but
bit here.
it could be a little happier. Steve?
I wish Matt's deodorant was still on his nightstand or his bureau because I would tell him to put some on because that take stinks.
You stink.
For Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Take the Reds and D-backs parlay. That one is fun. The D-backs have a legitimate chance to beat Jordan Lyles. Jordan Lyles is so poor against lefties. Now he's going to face a D-backs lineup that is full of them. And then Mitch Keller's taking the mound. He stinks too. He's been pretty poor since he's been called up. Allowed at least 6 runs in 3 of his 5 starts that he's made so far. That's actually a pretty damn good parlay. When I got the question, I said, you know what? I actually kind of like it, and I took it myself. So that just goes to show how much I like it. Have some fun with your life, man. Take the parlay and cash later.
Inspired.
DK Sportsbook's going to like it too when they have your money later tonight.
I've taken so much that it doesn't even matter.
Hey, I'm having fun. How about you?
Yep. All right, great start, guys. We'll see how you finish later. In the meantime, lots on the way. Pierce Dietrich is going to join us for a NASCAR price check, and then I believe you, sir, had a little bit of a chat.
I did.
Yeah, you excited
Josh
about
Bell,
it? How about
Pirates
that?
first baseman,
Well,
all-star
that's coming
too.
up.
Welcome to the Price Check. I'm Pierce Dietrich. Let's look at the salaries for Road America. Whose salary jumped up this week? Jeremy Clement, $6,500 up to $7,900. He won this race in 2017. He's in good equipment too. He bought an old Chip Ganassi ride. Austin Cindric, $9,400 up to $10,500 after a couple years of almost winning at road courses. He won earlier this month at Watkins Glen, and then he won again the very next week at Mid-Ohio. Brandon Brown, $6,400 up to $7,400. Small team driver. Not a lot of road experience, way too much money. Whose salary dropped this week? Tyler Reddick, $11,300 down to $9,700. He can win. He's the cheapest of the big 3, but it ain't going to be pretty. I recommend if you roster him, don't watch the race. Christopher Bell, $12,100 down to $10,800. Finished second at Mid-Ohio. He can race at any track type. Cue up the Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson comparisons. Cole Custer, $10,600 down to $9,900. 6 top 10s at the road courses. Rather pay up for Bell or pay for the guys I'm getting ready to mention. Favorite play of the week, Matt DiBenedetto, $8,400. Great driver, never in good equipment, but he's in good equipment this weekend. He's in the 18 car. Kyle Busch was $15,000 in the 18 car. AJ Allmendinger, $11,200. There's enough value that you can overpay for a top 3 finish. And in this soft field, AJ is a lock for a top 3 finish. All right, guys, check out the DK Playbook for your DFS information and needs. If you have NASCAR questions, hit me on Twitter at @RaceForThePrize. I'm Pierce Dietrich. Catch me on DK Live.
Very special guest joining the Sweat, Pirates first baseman Josh Bell. You can find him on the Twitter machine, jbell_19. His nickname we will get to. You've been having a fantastic season, sir, posting career highs, home runs, RBI, doubles, your first All-Star game. Just about every stat, you've done really well. What's clicked for you this season?
A lot of things have come together. I feel like this past offseason I put a lot of good work in. Went out to California to train. Got out of my comfort zone a little bit. And was ready to go this past spring training. And we got new hitting coaches and Rick Eckstein and Jacob Cruz. They kind of, took me under their wing and showed me the ropes and proved to me that, I could have power at this level and I could hit for average and power. So it's fun playing both parts.
You were named an All-Star, as I mentioned, for the first time this year. What was that experience like in Cleveland, getting to play with all of today's greats?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really quick couple of days, but, sharing a clubhouse with Scherzer, Kershaw, Yelich and Bellinger, the list goes on and on. It was a lot of fun, but, I wish I could have soaked it up just a little bit more. Like I said, we're in and out. Next, we're on a plane and back to Chicago and back into divisional play. So it was short-lived for sure.
Yeah, which were some of the All-Star teammates that you were most excited to play with, and who ended up being some of your favorite guys to play with in that game?
I feel like that's an easy one for me. It'd be Trevor Story, a guy that I played with from like 13 on to 18. So to be with him in the All-Star game and, just looking back on those years where we would, play double headers and not complain about it and, hit the pool afterwards and order Whataburger and have pizza by the pool and, stay up all night. It was just a lot of fun reminiscing on those days, and then being together at the All-Star game.
Yeah, and it probably was a quick weekend because you were busy. You got to participate in the Home Run Derby. You exited in the first round, but I'm sure it was still an amazing experience. Who were you rooting for in that final round, Pete Alonso or Vlad Jr.?
Man, I feel like once you're out of it, you just want a good show. And I feel like, Jock and Vlad kind of stole the show for me, going back and forth there with the swing offs. And, Pete took it home, which was awesome. But yeah, I didn't really have a dog in the fight after I was out of it. Cunha really showed up, was hitting balls out from, opposite field. Now, golly, I didn't know he had it like that, but it was a fun competition for sure.
Hey, what do you think of the format now? Because probably when you were younger, I mean, we're about the same age. When we were younger, the format was a lot different. It's a bit quicker pace nowadays.
Yeah, quicker pace. But I feel like it's good for the game. It's good for, I guess, being able to tune in at the right moments. The 10 outs could last forever, but the 4 minutes is pretty standard. So I feel like that's going to stick for a while.
You won the Major League Baseball Players Alumni Association's Heart and Hustle Award this season for your Pittsburgh Pirates. The award honors active players who demonstrate a passion for the game of baseball. They best embody the values, spirits, and traditions of the game. That's a pretty cool honor. Can you describe the feeling of receiving that award and representing your organization?
Oh, it was awesome. I remember when I first got the text, they let me know that I won the award, and I looked back at, different Pirates that had won it over the last couple of years, and you got, Josh Harrison that year where he got into like 4 or 5 rundowns and got out of every last one of them. You got Corey Dickerson, you got Adam Frazier. So just to be a part of that list was amazing, and, hopefully there's more good to come in the season.
Let's go back in time for a moment. You hit a grand slam in your second career at-bat, so people found out about Josh Bell pretty quickly. Where does that moment rank among your career accomplishments so far?
That's definitely top 5. I had a walk-off my rookie year. I feel like the big thing that sticks out this year was we're playing the Reds right now, but we've had, a little back and forth going all year. So I feel like the ball that I hit over the batter's eye and, kind of tied the ball game, I want to say, at that point. And then we went on to win that game earlier this season was probably tops and the homers for this year.
Back to this year now. You guys were in a spot where you were hunting for the wild card or in a playoff spot, but you're not quite in the picture at this point, which is tough to bring up because at the end of the day, you want to win ball games. But what do you guys have to do now to keep having fun as the season winds down? You seem like a pretty competitive guy.
Yeah, I feel like we're just, hunting the good in this scenario. Whenever we get a win, we have a team player of the game, pitching and offensively. So we celebrate those guys at the end of the day. If we can do that, if we can stay positive, we can hunt the good. Good things are going to come. So, it was a tough stretch the last, month and a half or so, but hopefully we can turn things around.
Why don't you now show the fans and the people the player's jersey that you got on for Players Weekend? Look at that.
JB in the back.
That's flashy, man.
Black on black. It's not bad. I got some orange cleats. I'm not sure if I'm going to wear them, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of different things going on in the field, so I probably won't stick out, much more than anybody else.
Orange, that will certainly pop. Has JB been a nickname of yours since Little League?
Yeah, I feel like that's what my parents called me from the moment I, was brought home. So, it's definitely something that's going to stick for the rest of my life, and that's an easy choice for me every year for the Players Weekend.
I can't help but think of Drake and Josh when I see your name because I think Josh Peck, but then I think Drake Bell. So I want to call you like you're a mix of Drake and Josh, essentially. With your
I get
that
name. All the time.
You
They're
do?
Like, wait, isn't that? And I'm like, no, it's not. But I'm glad that you were kind of a fan, but not really.
Yeah, when Drake and Josh got together, the Pecks kept their last name, so it is not Josh Bell. Your teammate Brian Reynolds has had a fantastic rookie campaign. Do you think he deserves, at the very minimum, consideration for NL Rookie of the Year? I know Alonso's having a good year over there in New York.
Yeah, I remember, I put up numbers my rookie year that are nowhere near where Brian's at right now, and I was third in Rookie of the Year. So I feel like if I were hitting 330 at that time, I would give Bellinger a run for his money. So we'll definitely see. He's up there. He's hitting 330. He's he's about to be in the teens for homers. Plays an incredible outfield. Knows the game on and off the field. He's a great guy. So I'm definitely wishing the best for him, and I feel like he's going to be a Pirate for a very long time.
Let's hand out some superlatives now for your Pirates teammates. Who is the team DJ?
That would be Felipe Vasquez. We call him DJ Nightmare. You'll see that on his Players Weekend jersey tonight. He has like huge boombox that he brings on the flights with us too. So like we'll have a 5-hour flight back from California, and the entire time like the plane is rattling. So it's just a lot of fun.
All right, who's got the best hair on the Pirates?
Best hair? I mean, aside from myself, I would say, it was torn from like Archer, and then Cole Tucker was up for a while. I feel like Cole was stealing the show there. I feel like, he took one step out of the box and his helmet would fly off and the locks would be flying everywhere. I'd say either Archer or Tucker for sure.
See, those guys definitely on purpose wear the helmet a little bit big because they want it to come off and show off the flow, right? Yeah.
He's got a Head and Shoulders, endorsement lined up coming up. For sure. Who's got
the best car?
Starling Marte just bought a Rolls-Royce Phantom. So that by far is one of the coolest cars in the parking lot. But also Francisco Liriano has the Lamborghini like SUV, the Urus. Both of those are like cars that you see in music videos nowadays. So like I feel like every time I show up in my Jeep, I'm like, I'm gonna park a little bit further down and take a little selfie in front of their cars before I head.
All right, back with our football panel. DK Live's Jeff Ulrich, Reed Fowler, and for some unknown reason, Steve Buchanan is also back.
Good take, Brandon. Good take for once.
It's not really a take. I'm just introducing the segment, Jeff. Let's keep it down. Adam, you're up.
Wow, running a tight ship.
Josh Bell was a lot nicer to you than Bukes is.
Josh Bell was actually appreciative of my company.
Well, let's not go too far.
Okay, all right.
It's a partnered appearance. All right, NFL preseason slate tonight. Just 2 games, guys. It's a juicy slate. I don't think those words have ever been uttered, but even still, about the preseason, let's go. Browns at the Bucs, Lions hosting the Bills. If someone convinced you to make a lineup tonight, Jeff, which QB would you pick?
I'm going with David Fales from the Detroit Lions. Matt Stafford a little bit banged up. Either isn't going to play or is just going to play very little. They're definitely keeping him under wraps here. There's something going on. So it's going to be Josh Johnson. It's going to be David Fales. David Fales has been around as a backup, but he was very good in his second outing there with the Lions. He's definitely making a push for the backup job. I prefer him over Josh Johnson. Again, he's probably going to get more time against the third stringers too. Should see a lot of game time, and he's coming off a good game. So I like the spot for David Fales.
No way that take fails, Jeff. What do you think, Reed?
God. Oh, it's good to have you guys back. I'm going to stick with that other game. I think this is going to be a nice regular season matchup if we have it right, is the Browns and the Bucs. And so I think both of these teams are going to try and air it out. Baker Mayfield said it, and Freddie Kitchens have said that Baker's going to play. For how long? I really don't think these guys are going to play that long, even though the early reports from Tiffany Blackman and all those guys at the game are saying he's going to play for a half. I don't think that's the case. I think he plays for maybe a quarter. Then Drew Stanton comes in. But Garrett Gilbert is the guy I'm looking at. He's got a connection. He's been playing quite a bit. He's got 20 attempts on average in the preseason. And we've been talking about ad nauseum that what you want in the preseason is volume. And so give me this game. It's just more enticing to watch as opposed to the other one. So I like Garrett.
A lot of volume on this show from Steve Buchanan. Your turn, pal.
Really quick, every time they did a 2-shot of Glash and Bell, he almost started laughing. I have no doubt it's because he thought you had a Q-tip hanging out of your ear. I'm going to go with Ryan Griffin here. Griffin has played 2 quarters in both games that he's appeared in. Jameis Winston, Blaine Gabbert are expected to handle the first half. Griffin's been really solid when he's been on the field. He has 531 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, completing 68% of his pass attempts. And, he's someone that we've seen do well in the preseason before. So I don't know why this would be any different here tonight, especially if he's getting the whole second half. I think Griffin's a great spot here at QB.
Jeff, same question, but we'll go to running backs. I dare you to give me your best pick.
Dare Ogunbowale. Yes, I got it. Did it.
How long were you practicing
that? Ronald Jones banged up. Peyton Barber sucks. Ogunbowale is actually making a push to not even just make the team, but perhaps be a factor week 1 here. He's played really good preseason. He should get another long look here. Andre Ellington is is out there too. I haven't seen anything from him that would make me want to roster him. So Ogunbowale, just ride the chalk there, even if he is popular.
Jeff, do it 10 times fast.
Ogunbowale, no.
5 times fast.
Come on, try it.
3 times fast.
No.
Party, just a party pooper.
All right, Reed. Truth or dare? Your best
I
pick.
was actually, I applaud Jeff for that. Kaufman and I were talking about that, and he was definitely going to screw that up. But Dernish Johnson is a guy for me. He's filling in for that Duke Johnson role, right? When Duke Johnson left Cleveland, I just like this matchup. You saw in that Indy game that he was getting some run. I think he got 10 to 15 attempts, and then he was targeted in the passing game. And he caught his touchdown that he got was out of the slot, and that's that Duke Johnson role. And if we liked Duke Johnson a little bit in Cleveland, we like him in Houston, I think he can fulfill this spot. Like he's again trying to make this team, and getting that third down role or getting this pass catching role in the regular season. They're going to see what he can do against the number one. So I like him in this spot.
Ernest Goes to Cleveland, my favorite of the Ernest movies.
All right, Steve, you can go ahead. I'll try and listen, but I got a Q-tip shoved up my ear, so I won't be able to really hear your advice.
I know, it's so weird. Why would you go on air with that? That's so unprofessional. I'm going to roll with Kareem Hunt here. I think he actually might get some decent run in this game. I mean, it's not like they have to limit his snaps for the regular season. He ain't playing much at the beginning. Nick Chubb's not going to be playing in this game. Dontrell Hill is just coming back from an injury, so I don't expect them to run him out too much here. So I think they got nothing to lose with using Kareem Hunt in this game. So I'm going to give him a shot here, and hopefully he gives us a little something.
All right, let's examine some of the options at receiver, guys. There aren't many. It's preseason. So, Reed, which Bobo do you like?
Good one, Kaufman. I know
Thanks,
you wrote
buddy.
that one, but yeah. I like the one of the Wilson variety. Like, this guy has been on the practice squad with Tampa Bay right for the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, and now he's getting more and more. And he played last year, just a couple of snaps, a couple of receptions, but he's playing in that slot role. Brashard Perriman hasn't seen any time, and if he has, he hasn't caught any passes in the preseason. This guy kind of reminds me of a poor man's Antonio Callaway. This guy can really run. He's not that fast. He doesn't have a fast 40 speed, but he's really quick when he's in that slot position. And again, the wide receiver 3 or 4 in an Arians offense can really support fantasy options, especially during the preseason. Bobo Wilson would be my guy of all the Bobos in the NFL.
Bukes, you're my favorite Bobo.
Thank you, I think. I'm going to roll with Anthony Johnson here. If I'm going to be taking Ryan Griffin in my lineups, it makes some sense to get another Bucs receiver in there. He's so far averaging 11 yards per reception in the 2 games he's appeared in so far. And he's been playing on a healthy amount of snaps when he's on the field. He's seen at least 30 in both games so far this season. So I think Johnson being stacking with Griffin makes a lot of sense in this game here. So I'm going to be rolling with him.
Let's go with the best dad ever.
I'm going to go with Pierce Dietrich's favorite player ever, Rashard Hollywood Higgins. He touted him like 4 weeks in a row back in 2016. Did nothing. Receiver, Jarvis Landry out, Odell Beckham out. He's going to get to work with Baker Mayfield for perhaps even like a full half. So I like the spot for Rashard Higgins.
Even for season long, I think Higgins is someone that you can target towards the end of your draft, because if one of those 2 guys get hurt in that Cleveland offense, this guy's going to really go and supplant that number 2 spot.
I would ask Reed, but thanks anyways.
Just trying to bring some expertise to this weak panel, except for you, Bukes.
Well, I mean, 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
though,
two out of 3.
Yeah, it's an odd Hey, could you guys show
Thank
Reed
you
a
for
little bit
explaining
of
my
respect?
joke, Q-Tip.
He's
Appreciate
an
it.
ordained
Let's go.
minister in the state of Oklahoma.
There we go.
See? I wouldn't even make that up. I don't think I could. All right, that was fun, guys, I think. MLB Price Check should be a good time, too. The All Steve Buchanan Show rolls on after this. We're going to chat with WFAN's Mike Francesa. It's a Francesa Friday. All right, we've spent a lot of time this year making fun of the Mets, but man, this team is actually really good now. 4 straight wins, game and a half back of a wild card spot. It's a crowded field for those 2 positions, but can you believe this turnaround?
No, something's really happening. And I watch them all the time, and I know a lot of their guys. First of all, they got really good guys on this team. I mean, they got really good kids to root for. They have a bunch of good guys. Alonso has come in, and he's really changed the franchise. He's the voice, he's the face, he's the star, he's the big slugger. So he has done that in a big way. But they have, they are the team. They're not perfect by any stretch. They're still very weak in the bullpen. But they are the team that has absolutely caught fire. It's not one guy that's caught fire. It's about 4 or 5 guys that have caught fire. Davis has caught fire since Dom Smith got hurt and he's been playing every day, he has gone. He's probably been the best hitter in the league. Rosario has caught fire. Conforto's gotten hot. Ramos has gotten hot. Then the starting pitching's gotten good. The bullpen is still shaky day in and day out. Yesterday, they again got beat out of the bullpen. It looked like a loss. Then they come back. Francona made a gamble. It should have worked. His reliever pulls a rock. He put the winning run on base, but Conforto hit a ball. It should have been a double play. The pitcher doesn't cover first base, leaves the inning wide open, winds up losing the game. So, Francona is one of my favorite managers, if not my favorite manager. He did a bold move there. He didn't pitch to Alonso. He put him on the winning run on base. He got Conforto against the lefty to hit the ball and do a double play, and then the pitcher doesn't cover first base. So, things like that get you beat, and that's what got him beat. Ramos hit the ball 25 feet, and he beat out a hit, and next thing you know, Davis has been red hot. Absolutely red hot. He's not the guy you want to see up in those spots. He's been dealing like crazy. But that team, I'm going to tell you right now, we have beat on that team all year. Everybody in New York has. That team believes in itself right now. They absolutely believe they're going to win the game. And that gets contagious, and it's getting contagious with them right now. They've won 12 or 13 at home. They're in the tough part of the schedule now. It hasn't made a difference. They're coming from behind like crazy. There's a little magic going on right now with that team. There really is.
Well, speaking of Terry Francona's Indians, over in the American League, it looks like it's either going to be the Tribe or the Twins. Of course, one's going to win the division, then the wild card spot. But then you have the Athletics, the Rays. They're competing for 2 spots as well. So when you put that little group together, are you officially counting out the defending champion Red Sox now, 7 games back, about a month or so to go?
Not counting them out yet. You know what? I don't count them out yet. Even the Sale injury, I don't count them out yet. They can't have one more bad slump. They've had a lot of bad slumps this year. They can't have, if they have one more 4-game losing streak, they're done. They cannot have another one. They've been very streaky. One more and they're done, but they're too good. Their lineup's too good. They got too many, look at what Betts does. Look at what Divas does. I mean, these guys, those 2 guys have already scored 100 runs apiece. Betts has scored 115 runs already this year. I mean, they are too talented to just dismiss. I will not dismiss them yet.
Oh, and you add in Bogarts, Benintendi, obviously Martinez. There's a bunch of talent, like you said. But you brought up the Chris Sale injury, and he's done for the year, left elbow inflammation. Reportedly will not need Tommy John surgery, at least as of right now, so that's the good news. But his 5-year, $145 million extension kicks in next year. A lot of people questioned it at the time when he got it back in spring training. I did. Do you have any confidence this is going to prove to have been a good decision by Dave Dombrowski?
Nightmare. Absolute. Write it down. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare, and it's only going to get worse. Sale's best days are behind them. If they get 2 good years out of him for the rest of his career, consider themselves lucky. I don't even think they will.
Well, who knows? I mean, there might even be an argument to have the Tommy John surgery just because nowadays, you miss a year and you got to pay him a whole boatload of cash in that time period, but guys come back so much stronger from it. Maybe you're doing the best for the longevity of that contract to actually have him have it.
Nightmare. They can eat contracts like that. So can the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees have been paying Pillsbury for years. He hasn't been near the team for years. They've been paying him $21 million a year. He hasn't been near the team. We know some of these contracts. The Tigers are paying Cabrera a fortune. The Pujols contract. You know what? This is going to be a bad contract. There's no question about it. I mean, the Dodgers are still getting something out of Kershaw. He's not Kershaw, but they're still getting something out of him.
Yeah.
Sale's a different story. The back end of this contract, if they get 40 cents on the dollar out of this contract, they're lucky.
So it's back and picking up where we left off there with Mike. Let's stick with baseball. Okay, Steve Buchanan, the Action Network's Matt LaMarca, and DFSR.com owner Doug Norrie, all back with us. Why don't we price check here, Brendan?
Sure, yeah. Crucial to check the tags for a big slate. Dodgers catcher Will Smith, most expensive catcher tonight, $5,000 against the Yankees. Smith worthy of this amount, or is it too high, Bukes?
Sorry. There's actually some other guys that I like a lot more that are a lot cheaper, like Robinson Chirinos against the lefty. Jose Suarez I like a lot more. Yasmani Grandal, 4,300 against Merle Kelly. That seems like a lot more enticing matchup. Like, there's other positions I'd much rather pay up for. Then I'd catch it for Smith at 5,000. Like, he's been really good against lefties. Like, there's no doubt about that. But I think there's some cheaper ways that you can go on this slate.
Bukes, you and Glash have never looked so similar.
Thank you.
Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know where Steve's getting his numbers from, because Smith
Or his
has been
Q-tips.
far drastically worse against left-handed pitchers this year. 118 WRC plus against lefty, 234 WRC plus against righties. So against a talented lefty like Paxton, even though his results haven't been as good this year, I'm not particularly interested in paying up $5K for him. You know, the Dodgers have a pretty mediocre implied team total on today's slate. So I agree, Grandal, much better play. JT Realmuto, who's slightly cheaper, is a much better play. If you're looking to spend up a bit at catcher, I don't think you have to go all the way to Will Smith.
Doug, too much for Will Smith?
Yeah, you're just paying peak prices for a guy who basically made a deal with the devil for his first 100 plate appearances of his career. Like, he and Aristides Aquino got on the same conference call with, you know, whoever they made, whatever genie bottle they rubbed, because they've just been way too hot. I don't know, something like 500 ISO, it's not sustainable. Things like the home runs compared to the amount of hits he has are just unsustainable. He's hitting third, so you get some plate appearance expectation on him. But otherwise, you're just paying all the way up for a guy who just has nothing but regression coming. I like all the names these guys said before: Grandal, Chirinos, really almost any other catcher. You're not really getting any value on Smith here.
All right, none of you interested in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, so we move on. Let's dish out $5,400 for Sterling Marte, okay? The Pirates outfielder, he's facing a Reds pitcher who has allowed a homer in each of his last 4 starts. Marte, hot, cold, a little bit of both, but 11.5 DK points per game over his last 10. Has he earned the hefty salary, Matty?
Well, I don't know about Sterling Marte, but Starling Marte has not earned it, in my opinion.
That's fair.
If we measure StatCast data versus fantasy points at Fantasy Labs, and Marte, one of the luckiest batters in baseball over the past 15 days, he really isn't hitting the ball well. He's just scoring points. So that to me screams fade. I think he's definitely a regression candidate. And similar to Smith, it's just not a good spot. The Pirates have an implied team total of 4.7 runs. Like, just not. I think you're paying peak price for Marte in what's not a great matchup. So I will pass on him.
Bukes?
Yeah, I mean, look. Oh, there it goes too. All right, I can't handle this anymore. I mean, this is not a great matchup for Marte. I mean, if you're going to target against Anthony DeSclafani, it's going to be with the lefties. I mean, against lefties, he's allowing a 386 WOBA, a 5.84 xFIP, 16 of his 25 home runs, and he is much tougher against righties. So this is just not a great matchup for Marte here. If you want to go do a stack of the lefty Pirates, I totally condone that. I think that's fine because this lineup is loaded with lefties. But no, for Marte specifically, you can definitely skip over him if you're stacking the Pirates.
Oh, I feel badly for disrespecting him because he has been a star this year, Doug.
Yeah, hard pass on the price. There's just so many other teams in better spots. He is a reverse platoon split guy, so going righty here isn't the worst thing ever for him. Over his career, he's been better against lefties this year, I think. But definitely over his career, he's been better against righties. PNC Park doesn't really play well for power in general, though it has been up a little bit this year. But really at this price, you're just hoping he makes contact. He does make a lot of contact, doesn't really take any walks, and really doesn't strike out that much. But really, you're buying at a peak for a guy who's just, there's so many other teams in better spots here.
If I were the Padres, I wouldn't have necessarily paid Manny Machado all of that money, but that's why I sit here and host a show with a Q-tip in my ear. Machado is riding a 6-game hitting streak, but you take a closer look, not a whole lot of DraftKings points in order: 3, 3, 8, 3, and 5 and 6. So his last double-digit DraftKings night was August 4th. So is 4,100 fair for Manny against the Red Sox, Doug?
Been a few weeks.
There's got to be buyer's remorse on this contract, man. Holy cow! If this is going to be what he is, then they are. This is going to. I mean, not to say he can't improve here. There's some really discouraging signs too in some of his batted ball stuff. Like his infield fly ball rate is way up, and that's really not what you want to see from a power hitter. The strikeout rate is up. The walks are down. These are, some things will regress to the mean in terms of batted ball stuff, but there's other things that your approach is just way different, and there's some real concern that his approach is just kind of all out of whack here. Then this contract could start looking real bad before it starts looking better. I know the price is down. He's better against lefties, but man, I have real concerns about what Machado really has done this season. It's not. There's some underlying stuff that really is troubling.
Steve, can you add to that, please?
I mean, yeah, Doug is right. I mean, he is much stronger against lefties. He's got a 396 WOBA and Austin 316 isolated power versus lefties at home. But his second half numbers have just been brutal. He's only got a 151 isolated power since the second half has started. And, this isn't the worst matchup. Like, Eduardo Rodriguez has been a lot worse on the road than he has been at home. But, I mean, we're talking about Petco Park here. We're not like they're playing in Great American Ballpark, Citizens Bank Park, or anything like that. So Machado just looks lost at the plate. And until he starts showing some sign of life, like, I just don't see the point in taking him. Like, 4,100 is a very fair price for, when you take into the amount of talent that Machado has. We're not denying that. But, man, when he goes in slumps, like, he is just gone. You just get absolutely nothing out of him. So until we start seeing some signs of life, he's a really hard fade for me.
LaMarca, you in with these two?
No, I think these guys are overthinking it. I mean, it's Manny Machado at 4,100 versus a lefty. He has, for all of his struggles this year, he has still destroyed left-handed pitching. Eduardo Rodriguez, not the easiest lefty in the world, but he's certainly not somebody that I'm afraid of. I think if you wait to see signs of life from Machado, it's going to be too late. You want to buy him now while his price is low and hopefully his ownership is down. I think that this is a pretty nice contrarian spot for him.
All right, thanks, guys. Adam, I don't know if you know, it's come to my attention that one of our formerly best baseball segments needs a bounce back. Just like that song, Old Town Road, Put Up Your Bukes is actually no longer #1 in the world.
That a fact?
Yeah, it is. We'll see what Steve Buchanan brings to the table on a Friday night. Plus, Garrett Hampson of the Rockies joins us. But first, how about a projected win total for the New York Jets from Mr. Pat Mayo?
I don't know. This like the third. I don't know if people like when we play this game. I don't know.
They do, because it grows.
All right.
Like
I don't even remember what I
organism.
picked last time. Let's do it. Okay. Week 1, Bills. It's at home, so I give that game to the Jets. Week 2, also home. Again, BS that we start with 2 home games. We're a cold weather team that should be playing games in January and December at home where there's an advantage. They give us 2 home games out of the chute.
The league is screwing them already. But you won them both? Yeah, but he won both the games.
Week 2, we'll give the Jets the win against the Browns. I think we win that game and avenge the demons of the Bud Light truck from last year. Week 3, of course, on a short week.
Prime time?
Yes, it is Monday Night Football, week 2.
Amazing.
Because the Jets are there. Now, week 3, we come into, of course, they make us play on a short week at the Patriots. Like, we can't be 7 days off each, best on best. That's BS. It's at the Patriots. I'll give the Patriots that game. Bye week, week 4. Again, nonsense. I forgot that they gave us a bye week in week 4. Like, it's the worst spot to have a bye. They're not even tired. They played 2 of their first 3 games at home. And Park Avenue is like, well, we better cool. It's like being at a blackjack table and the players are all winning. So they switch out the dealer to cool things down. That's what the league is doing to us in week 4. Anyway, that's BS. Come out of the bye. Because we're coming out of the bye at Philadelphia, I'll give us a win. So 3-1. Home to the Cowboys, give us a win. Home to the Patriots on a Monday night. The Patriots coming off a Thursday night game, having a couple extra days rest versus us. We only have the 8 days. They have 11. Again, unfair advantages for the second time against the Patriots. And, of course, they make us play them early in the season twice where injuries can affect the Patriots and attrition and stuff like that as the season goes on. Again, you'd want to tell me about a schedule that is stacked against a particular team. But it's at home. We get the game on Monday night. Then at Jacksonville,
they're so good they've overcome everything to be 5-1.
5-1, yeah. But now he knows that he has them winning too many games, so he's going to say they're going to lose to Jacksonville now after beating Philly and the Patriots. Yeah.
At Jacksonville on a short week, I think this Jaguars team is pretty decent. I'm going to take the Jaguars, so it's 5-2. At the Dolphins, 6-2. Home to the Giants, 7-2. At the Skins.
They're the worst team in football. We just talked about this on the NFC show.
Yeah, you're not telling me you're losing to the Skins.
8-2. Home to the Raiders, 9-2.
This team.
At the Bengals. No. I'm going to change that. Home to the Raiders, 8-3.
No. You don't believe you're gonna say that the Raiders, who are not good, coming across the country for a 1 p.m. Eastern start. That is the
Raiders,
game.
The Raiders historically have the Jets.
You don't believe that.
I do. So
you're not. No, you're not. You're saying this so you don't seem like a lunatic more so than usual.
I'm going to give the Raiders that game. Then the Jets beat the Bengals.
You're not allowed.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
I'm going to tell you why you're not allowed. Just like simple math, the Raiders 4-21 straight up in their last 25 1 p.m. Eastern games. You're telling me they're coming cross country.
You're telling us
Super Bowl team?
You're telling us the 8-2 Jets can't handle the crappy Raiders.
I just think it's the NFL. That's a classic game where the world is on the Jets after winning a bunch of games, so the Raiders knock them out in that game.
I've got a special guest joining me now. The Rockies' Garrett Hampson is here. Thanks for coming on our show, Garrett.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so you grew up in Nevada, a state that's in the process of becoming home to several pro sports teams. Soon, Las Vegas will have the Raiders, and they already have NHL and WNBA teams. Do you think Nevada needs a Major League Baseball team next?
Didn't have a hockey team, so when the Golden Knights came, I jumped on that bandwagon really quick. So, yeah, I mean, it's exciting for the fans in Nevada who get to see professional sports.
So you were drafted by the Nationals back in 2013, but opted not to sign with them so you could play college ball at Long Beach State. Why'd you make the decision to hold off on going pro and play with the Dirtbags?
I wanted obviously the college experience, education part of it's huge. But I also felt like I wasn't necessarily ready for pro ball. I was, I'm not necessarily big now, but I wasn't big out of high school. I was very, I was smaller. I wanted to get stronger, and I think college did all that for me. I grew as a baseball player, not only mentally, but physically as well.
Well, there's a ton of greats who played at Long Beach State. You got Evan Longoria, Troy Tulowitzki, Jared Weaver, Jeff McNeil. Who do you think, though, is the greatest player to come from your alma mater?
I think Troy Tulowitzki holds that cake for now. He's just such a special talent. He did it all, especially at the big league level. So you got to give it to him for sure.
All right, let's talk about you. You had your first career walk-off hit this past Sunday in the 10th inning against the Marlins. How did it feel to be the hero?
Oh, great. I mean, all you want to do as a rookie, especially, is just contribute as much as you can. There's definitely some ups and downs that I've gone through this year, but that one felt really good for me to help the team win and get a big hit in a big moment.
This season, the Rockies have been doing a hand motion to celebrate big hits and calling themselves the Cucarachas. How did you guys come up with all that?
It basically just means you're a grinder. We're going to grind away. No matter what our records say, no matter what stats say. We have a good team, and we haven't really put together the season we were hoping for. So we're just trying to forget about that, and we're going to fight till the end. So it's just about fighting and just keep grinding every day, try to win.
Obviously, the transition to the pros can be tough. Which of your teammates has helped you get acclimated to the big league lifestyle the most?
I don't know if I can name just one on this team. There's just so many good people to follow. I would say Ian Desmond. He's been amazing. He's so good to all the rookies and all the young guys who come up. He really takes us under his wing and shows us the ropes and how to be a professional. Him and Charlie, just those guys have been great.
Well, by now you've been to quite a few major league ballparks. Which one has been your favorite besides Coors Field, of course?
Honestly, it's St. Louis. I'm here right now, and I came here last year. It seems to be a favorite around the clubhouse too. The experience, the fans are great here. Getting pretty lucky with this weather, so I'm gonna have to go with St. Louis. I like this place a lot.
We're approaching Players Weekend, so which of your teammates do you think has the best nickname?
Ooh, best nickname. I got to see them all, but I think Charlie's still Chuck Nasty. I think that one. That one takes the cake. Obviously, he's the man. He's definitely Chuck Nasty. It just symbolizes him so well.
Okay, let's give out some superlatives for your teammates. Who would you say has the best car?
I see Vinny Castilla. I know he's not on the team, but he is in our hearts. I don't know how many cars he has, but he's got a new one every day of the week. So I'm gonna have to go with him on that one.
Yeah, just for pure arsenal there. What about best sense of style?
Ian Desmond, best dressed for sure. He's got something different every day, and he's looking pretty good. I got to give it to him.
Okay, best sense of humor?
Best sense of humor, Daniel Murphy. Brings it every single day. Keeps it super light, super funny, super weird. But we love him.
Okay, what about most superstitious? Does anybody have some pregame rituals that they have to do?
I heard something about David Dahl wearing the same thing in the field every day of the week during his hot hitting streak. So, even down to the underwear. So I'm going to give it to him. I think he's pretty superstitious.
That is dedication right there. All right, Garrett Hampson, great having you on. Thanks for making time for DraftKings.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're back. Ears are sweaty and clean, but before we let you go, I got to give Steve Buchanan the chance to save his segment's ratings, Adam.
No one really asked you to do that, but I guess we can try. It's time for Put Up Your Bukes. Steve Buchanan reveals 3 predictions for tonight's baseball slate. And at that point in time, Matt LaMarca, the Action Network, and DFSR.com owner Doug Norris will pretty much try and disagree with them constantly. Hopefully, I hope. That's how we make this segment better, Steve.
Yeah, Steve, so it's time for me to give you my awkward setup. I'll put the ball on the tee, and you can swing away. Go ahead. What's your first pick?
Yeah, if the ratings don't go well, at least you can read some of your recipes off your cookbook that you have in front of you. Let's talk about Jason Kipnis here for 16 DK fantasy points, batting 6th tonight at 3,800, and he's facing Jacob Junis. And look, he's just been downright terrible when it comes against lefties. He's got a 342 WOBA, 4.27 xFIP, 12 of his 25 home runs allowed to left-handed bats. Kipnis has been hitting really well, too, in the month of August. He's got a 260 isolated power, 7 doubles, 4 home runs. We all know how well this Indians offense is doing, but if you're stacking 1 through 5, Kipnis obviously would be left off of that stack there. So I like differentiating the Indian stack a little bit here with Kipnis, so I think he's in a really good spot here against Junis.
All right, LaMarca, you first.
Kipnis is fine. It's hard to, knock the play. 3,800. He's hit very well against righties, and as Steve mentioned, Junis has struggled pretty badly against lefties. I just think that there are better plays. I mean, I prefer Cesar Hernandez, who's only $100 more expensive, but he's batting leadoff against Hector Noesi, who can't keep the ball in the ballpark. Or if you want to go with a 6th-place hitter, sticking with the Phillies, Brad Miller is a few $100s cheaper. I just think that both of those guys are in better spots. But, it's hard to knock Kipnis too much. I mean, it is a good spot. I just think there are better options.
All right. Doug, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, at 16 DraftKings points, it's like the hardest pass ever for me on Kipnis, I think. At that number, there's just so many. There are so many other. Second base is usually a problem area, and this is just not a night where that is an issue. Like Luis Arias is in a good spot for the Twins. Even like Mike Brosseau hitting the 6th spot. These are all in like the same sort of around the same region as Kipnis in the batting order in much better spots. Basically at 16 points, you're saying he's going to hit a home run. The conditions really aren't ideal for that. The wind's blowing in. There's a pretty long list of second basemen I like more than Kipnis tonight, I think.
Uh-oh, come on, Steve. Not looking good so far.
Doug's doing pretty much the same thing as you, and he doesn't have the toothpick thing going on.
Like, they're not supposed to like it.
Or Q-tip thing.
We have a debate here. If they liked it, it would be boring. So get with the program. Let's talk about Robinson Chirinos, who I know they're both going to like, because they already said it early in the show. So if they say it, they're cowards. Look, he's batting 8th, which isn't obviously ideal, but this guy absolutely smashes lefties at Minute Maid Park. 556 WOBA, 357 isolated power. I think the Astros are going to be scoring in bunches here tonight. I don't know how you could think otherwise here with the pitching matchup that they have on tap here. So, I mean, Jose Suarez, I don't know what the hell that guy does when he takes the mound. He's a starter. That's what they call him, but I don't even know what starting is to him because he doesn't start. He just goes out there, allows the other team to score like 6-7 runs, and then he leaves. Like, thank you. So, Robinson Chirinos, 14 DK fantasy points. Doesn't just have to be a home run, Doug. We can get out there in other ways, but I do like Chirinos here in the spot a lot.
Doug, seems like a good time for you to chime in.
Yeah, if you like him hitting 8th, then you're gonna even like him more because he's hitting 6th. So there's you move him up 2 more spots in the lineup. Look, Chirinos is a really good play tonight. He's not just a good hitting catcher against lefties; he's just a good hitter against lefties, and that's pretty rare to find at the position. So at 3,800, that's a pretty clear. It's not an auto play for me, but considering the splits in the spot, I think it's a really, really nice value. Probably the best catcher value in the slate.
Oh, we got one feather in Buke's cap. What do you say, Matty?
I just want to confirm. So Steve thinks that the purpose of this segment is to give out bad plays so that we can jump all over him?
No.
That's what he
I'm
said.
giving out plays that maybe you wouldn't consider, and then you have to debate if you like them or not.
Oh, gotcha. So you went real off the board with a catcher for a team with an implied team total of 6 runs who cost just 3,800.
Listen, Pat, you want to do this segment every week, you got to go with some guys. It's like sometimes there's just real crap out there. I have to look somewhat intelligent.
Yeah, he's only got 13 games to choose from.
I prefer Grandal. I prefer Real Muto. But after those two, I think Chirinos is right at the top of the list of catchers. So I think that he, again, is a fine play. I would expect the Astros to be pretty chalky tonight. Chirinos is definitely going to be popular. But, you know, like these guys have said, it's a great spot. He hits lefties well, and he's facing a really, really bad lefty.
All right, Steve, it's your show. It's your segment. I'm trying to let you save your segment, so go ahead.
We were going to play War.
Two idiots on the hosting table. Let's go with Brock Holt here. Here you go. Here's one for you, LaMarca. Let's talk about Brock Holt
This is definitely off the radar.
Thank you. For 10 DK fantasy points. I mean, he's been hitting well in the month of August. It's very easy to not realize that because nobody pays attention to Brock Holt. But he's got a 430 WOBA at 292 isolated power in the month of August here. And look, Chris Paddock has not pitched well in the month of August. He's got a 4.57 xFIP here. He's allowing a lot of hard contact, which is right up Matt's alley. 44% on the month of August. You gotta like that one, Matty. So I think Brock Holt is the way to, again, differentiate if you want to stack the Red Sox here. Holt will definitely not carry any ownership, that's for sure. But I think with the way Holt's hitting, 10 DK fantasy points, I think is actually pretty obtainable.
Floor is yours, LaMarca.
Yeah, Brock Holt stinks. I don't care if he's been good for a month. I'll take
Former All-Star.
Yeah, okay.
Sandy Alcantara was an All-Star this year.
That means nothing. He's batting 8th in the lineup against a guy who has displayed ace-level ability. Just hard pass.
Doug?
Yeah, pass. I mean, he's hitting 8th and he's hitting in front of the pitcher spot, so it's not even like he gets his usual DH sort of to kind of maybe clean up the mess. The BABIP's through the roof. It's not sustainable. There's no way this guy should have like an over 800 OPS, and there's almost no chance he'll have one again for the rest of his career. So he could be off my radar for a reason. I have no interest.
Okay, boys, we need your slate-approved picks for tonight's 13-game slate. You've each got, 10, 15 seconds. Doug.
Flaherty against the Rockies. Rockies, if you take him out of Coors, are in that Tigers-Marlins territory, and WOBA against righties. He's a big favorite here at home. I love Flaherty here. I think he's going to be a pretty chalky play in DraftKings.
LaMarca?
Reese the Beast Hoskins. Give me all the Phillies against Hector Noesi.
Bukes, you've talked more on this show than either of us, maybe both combined, so go ahead.
Zach Greinke's way too cheap in this matchup. The Angels have been striking out way more in the second half than they have the first half.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Steve, man, that was a heck of an effort on your end for coming on the show tonight.
We appreciate the dedication from you. Really versatile performance.
I'm going to spend the weekend looking for a new earpiece. That is what I learned on the show. We used to do that. You know, what'd you learn from tonight's show? I learned. I've got to really work on that.
You need to find or use it as a Q-tip, one or the other.
Yeah.
All right, hey, The Sweat comes with you Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Join us next time. Bye-bye.
Peace out.